Well, hello, guys. It's Tuesday, and I am hopping on here to kind of give you the next thing, and just give you a recap, or at least a refresher of what in the heck that I am doing with you guys. Here's kind of a look at where we're going. Hopefully, this is purely to continue the conversation, to engage with a little bit more, to go deeper throughout the week. Of things that we are studying together on Sunday. And for today, the next, part of our path, of our journey forward, of our walk together, is just a little bit of deeper dive into one of the subjects that we lean into a little bit on Sunday. There's honestly, to be completely honest, there's a bunch of different ways I could have gone with this, but to connect it to a tangible concept, and the way that the place I decided to connect it to was simply this concept of vulnerability, because it's not super easy. In fact, I think this is the biggest safety, or the biggest thing that we as people, as human beings, struggle with the most, because we have different safety mechanisms and walls put in place to protect us, and because they exist, we are less vulnerable with each other. But the irony of all of this is that it is impossible to grow to the depth that Jesus desires in his relationship with us, but also in our relationships with one another, without this concept and the reality of vulnerability. And so I think absolutely this is the one that I wanted to lean into the most. And I want to share two passages with you real quick. The first one is this. It's from 1 Peter chapter 1. And you might have heard this quite a bit. It's popped up a few different times over the past few years in our community, but it says, now that you have purified yourselves by obeying the truth, so that you have sincere love for each other, love one another deeply from the heart. Now I'm gonna read that again slower, because I know I might have chopped that up a little bit, but think about the progression of what Peter is saying here. Now that you have purified yourselves, and you purified yourselves by obeying the truth. There's a couple things we could connect there, going deeper into that specific text, but I'll just do the summary real quick. You believed and obeyed the truth that Jesus is the King, and you've surrendered your life, and you're following him, and you're in this community that is his body, his church, his bride. So now that you've purified yourselves by obeying the truth, so that you have sincere love for each other, now this, love one another deeply from the heart. Now, the thing that sticks out to that from this passage for me is simply that it seems like he acknowledges we have sincere love for one another, but then there's also the command, love one another deeply. And I think that really highlights the need that we have to live out the reality that we have because of Jesus. The second verse I want to share with you is a little bit later in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. Finally, all of you be like-minded, be sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate and humble. Now, the reason I want to share those is because I think these two verses really will do quite a bit in helping us fight against the temptation to play it safe. No, I'm not talking about playing it safe in terms of wisdom, but I'm talking about playing it safe of not taking that step of faith to invite somebody into your circle and be vulnerable with them, and allow and allow them to be vulnerable with you. It is a two-way street. I know for a fact that some of the biggest struggles between people and churches in general, and I've seen it, and I've been a part of it, and it happens, is that there's a real possibility and a breeding ground for jealousy, because some people seem to get closer or become deeper in their relationships with others, and others will start to get a little jealous because of that and accuse favoritism, but that's not at all the case. What usually happens if people are living out these two verses, and they're being like-minded, being sympathetic, loving one another, being compassionate and humble, and they are living out sincere love for one another, what's happening is they are inviting others to be vulnerable with them, and they are being vulnerable with the others. And that is why that relationship is growing so much. And again, this leads back to this idea of journeying and walking together. Not everybody moves at the same pace. So So if that's not, if that's not where I'm at right now, that's not that I'm a failure, but it does identify with me, for me, and with the people that I'm around and with, and I'm trying to grow hand in hand with. It does help me to see where my next steps could be. So here's what I want to challenge you with, some food for thought. Here's the 3 questions for today. Number 1, I want you to think about this. How was vulnerability demonstrated in the life of Jesus? We are following him. We are trying to become many Christs. The idea of Christians is little Christs. And so, as we are transformed into his image, how was vulnerability lived out by Jesus, and what can we learn from that? The second question is how do you see this playing out in your own life? Do you see it at all? Do you see it some? Do you see it a lot? This is just food for thought to help you continue to wrestle with this concept and this reality of how we invest, like we talked about in EHS, EHR, and talked about this last Sunday as well. And then the final one is this. The final question is, what's holding you back from taking your next step? And so I want to leave you with those 3 questions. I want you to think about them and process through them. And I look forward to being with you again tomorrow. Take care.